Well, we have more danger, drama and suspense in our next offering, which is the feature film The Woman in Cabin 10 on Netflix. And here is a clip.
Someone's gone overboard.
What did she see?
It's the woman next door, the woman from the cabin now.
She said it was from cabin 10.
Yes, sir, that's what's so unusual.
I was backing in, I turned around and
never a guest staying in here, Miss Black. Everyone's accounted for.
The woman I saw last night.
There's nothing to be embarrassed about, Laura. You were convinced what you saw was real?
it was real.
Yeah, so this stars Keira Knightley. She's kind of the main role in this. And Keira gets a bit of a bad rep, doesn't she, sometimes? People are a bit negative about her. But I actually think she's pretty good, actually very good. And in this, she really holds the part incredibly well. So this is based on a novel. There was a best-selling novel in 2016. And it's... She plays the part of a hard-hitting news journalist, a bit like you and I, Ian, really. And she's a seasoned journalist. She's been on a really, really difficult story, and she needs a bit of time out. This looks like the ideal place for her to just choose an easy story, and she goes to do basically a report on this very expensive fictional vessel called Aurora Borealis. Borealis, however you say it. Anyway, it's fictional, it doesn't exist, but it's absolutely massive. And she's given this all expense paid trip. So yeah, bit of a coup here. But the respite goes right out the window because she witnesses one night a passenger being pushed overboard in the middle of the North Sea. But she raises the alarm thinking there's been an accident, and I need to do something. And she's understandably traumatized by what she sees. You as a viewer see a little bit of it. And they tell her she didn't see it. Nope, everybody's accounted for here. There was no one in cabin number 10. They called off this trip 2 days ago. I don't know what you're talking about. Captain comes out. And of course, if there is a killer on the loose on a yacht, you can't really get away, can you? And that's the problem. And it all sort of comes... it's all encroaching on her because she can't let it go. She's a journalist. She cannot let this go. She wants to know. She wants to get to the bottom of it. When really these are powerful people with loads of money. And really you probably should just keep your head down and get off that boat safe and alive. Well, of course, that wouldn't make for good viewing, would it? So that is not what happens. It's got some really some great names in here. The brilliant Hannah Waddingham, of course. She plays the part of Heidi, and then you've also got Guy Pearce. So, I think he wasn't he in Neighbours originally? Guy Pearce, or Home and Away, one of the two. He's in there. He's in it too. They're the very, very rich couple. I think she does really well. It's predominantly centered around her, and I think it's a good one to watch. What are you thinking?
Well, as you know, I'm a big fan of Below Deck, the reality show set on board luxury yachts. So yeah, I thought this is right up my street. And it's got a very good cast, as you say. It's also, but some of them are criminally underused, I would say. So David Morrissey plays Thomas. He's Heidi's husband. They're a very wealthy couple. You've got Kaya Scodelario from The Gentleman. He plays this really annoying influencer. And you've got Paul Kay, who we absolutely love. Playing a typical role for him, this kind of drug-addled rock star. Well, actually, no, he's gone cold turkey, I think, in this situation. And we have none other than Art Malik, yes, as a doctor who is an old friend of Guy Pearce's character, Richard. Yeah, so the setup is Richard's wife is Anne. She's Norwegian, very wealthy. She's got terminal cancer, and they're going to turn the sort of super yacht into part of the charity foundation that they're setting up. Okay, so that's kind of the backdrop. And most of these people are pretty ghastly. And unfortunately for Lo, Kira's character, she's had a kind of unhappy love life. And her ex-boyfriend, who's a photographer, has been hired. He's a photojournalist called Ben, played by David Ayala. He's also on board because he's been hired to take the pictures. So far so good, I would say. And also, there's sort of food porn, there's yacht porn. It's all very fancy and gorgeous. And it's quite a nice setup because she has had a sort of very traumatic experience involving a death. And so they're kind of saying, well, no one is missing from the boat. There was no one in that cabin. And perhaps you're kind of, and you see she's having kind of flashbacks to this death. They're saying, well, perhaps you imagine that the doctor's saying you could be sort of reliving what happened before. Anyway, of course, she doesn't believe any of that nonsense. But when it comes, the explanation for what has happened is completely ludicrous, unfortunately. And the ending is just rubbish. But there's enough in it, I think, to keep you entertained. And then once you're invested in it, of course, you want to find out how has this happened? Who was there a woman who went overboard? And in which case, who killed her? Who was she? So yeah, I think it's disappointing in the end. But Keira Knightley's very good in it. And yeah, I like her characters because she has to put up with all these rather quite rude rich people just treating her with disdain, and she handles it really nicely. So yeah, I still think it's worth a look. It's just a bit of escapist nonsense with a very, very good cast.